Hi! Apigee allows you to build and manage your API proxies. But what exactly do we mean when we say a proxy? In this module, we'll see if we can explain that a little bit. A proxy is a system or an application that sits between a client and a server, at least in the context of web architecture. So what does this look like? Let's imagine Alice wants to get some information from Bob. In this example, Alice is the client and Bob is the server. Now, Alice can't talk directly to Bob, as Bob has a proxy server sitting in front of him. Alice asks the proxy server what the time is, and the proxy server then asks the same question of Bob. Now note that Bob doesn't know the request came from Alice. Bob answers, and the proxy server relays the answer onto Alice. Now note here too that Alice has no idea who or how the question was answered. She has no knowledge of Bob. It's this aspect of a proxy server architecture that enables improved privacy and security, or even to provide an ability to abstract away any complexity. There are different types of proxies, but all essentially operate in a similar way. An open proxy is available to all internet-connected clients. A reverse proxy may also be available to any internet-connected client, but a reverse proxy would typically operate in such a way as to hide whatever sits behind it. The clients on the internet just think they're interacting with the proxy server on its own. Now, on Apigee, a proxy is something that acts as a substitute for your real APIs. We might call these your backend. Instead of internet-connected clients and applications talking directly to your backend systems and sensitive APIs, they connect to an API proxy that then connects to your backend. In this way, the API proxy also decouples the app from your backend, meaning if your backend changes, but you keep your API proxy the same, the application is unaware of the changes. The API proxy creates an abstraction layer that allows you to reduce complexity, add security, and gain insight into how your data is being used. Now, that's pretty awesome. API proxies provide a bunch of additional value that in aggregate enable an organization to support the furious pace of development for apps and internet services without adding complexity or reducing security. Indeed, the API proxy acts as a key control point that adds a layer of security and visibility of how your assets are being used. You get to hide away any complexity in how your backend systems figure stuff out or orchestrate responses to requests. You get to protect your sensitive backend systems from unnecessary requests and use caching to respond to client requests even faster. You get to add extra security controls, such as authentication, quotas on use, and logging. And you get to add rich analytics so you can see how apps are using your data and better understand where things go wrong when they break. And since they are lightweight and easy to create, you get to create a new API proxy to solve any new client or application need, quickly giving you the ability to respond to new business opportunities at speed and at scale without compromising security or sanctity of your critical systems. It's well worth the cost of an extra hop. Your ability to engineer this layer of additional capability is what API management is all about. An API proxy is composed of a couple of primary components. There's a proxy endpoint, which is where the inbound request from the internet goes, and there's a target endpoint, which points to the backend system that will actually handle the request. HTTP requests from the internet come to the proxy endpoint based on the URL that's been configured. The proxy endpoint contains policies that might make decisions about the request, for example, making sure the client has permission to make the request, or limiting how many times the request can be made. The target endpoint might also have some policies to define how requests to the backend systems are to be formatted, or to amend some of the aspects of the client request in other ways. And then the request is passed on to the backend. The response follows the opposite path from the target endpoint to the proxy endpoint and then back to the client, all with the same flexibility to apply policies to enforce rules or format the response. An API proxy usually has one proxy endpoint and one target endpoint. However, you can have more as well. That's it. I hope this has been helpful for you to gain a better understanding of what an API proxy is and what it can do for your business.